Well, today marks the end of 35 years of this news organisation.
The operation that was 3 National News, then 3 News, and now News Hub has been disestablished by our American owner, Warner Brothers Discovery.
Nearly 300 jobs have now gone, with many still out of work. Juliet Speedy reports.
The first in a day of lasts. TV3's last ever AM show. Long-time TV3 staff Melissa Chan-Green and Lloyd Burr on air for the last time.
You're the best, Mel. So I'm gutted. I've spent my whole professional life here, building this place up, wanting it to be a success, and to see it fall apart like this. Great to have you with us.
The show also hosted many of the network's veteran journalists for their final time on air.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm just so grateful, and it's been the best, wildest ride, and I won't regret any of it.
I think for me a huge part of it is just being grateful. Like, there's so much history in this place and so many incredible people that have been part of it.
One by one, staff arrived at the infamous former cheese factory on Flower Street for their last shift.
I've turned up like it's any other ordinary day, except it's just not another ordinary day. When I walked through the doors, I just thought, I've walked in those doors for 21 years.
A sad day made worse for Paddy Gower and his team, finding out this morning about a decision from New Zealand On Air.
Yeah, we'd been hopeful that Paddy Gower has issues would be funded, and some people from here would be working on it. New Zealand On Air has been unable to do that. They're not funding it.
Gower, like many here, is still looking for work in what's become a perilous industry in New Zealand. And now 35 years of one of the country's biggest media organisations ends today at 7 p.m.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what the lead is at this point, but yeah.
Are we the lead?
Part of the fun. No. Well, not at this point. I would like to think we'd get something, else other than us.
The bureaus in Christchurch and Wellington now packed up. The light's gone out for good, with all staff flying north for the final show.
From all of us here in New Zealand to the News Hub whānau, we wish every single one of you the best wishes and success in the future ahead.
I grew up at TV3. I was 19 when I started. I'm 54 now.
Christchurch camera operator Waz Armstrong's been with the company full-time since day one.
I can't really put it into words how amazing it's been. For a young Māori boy from Taharoa.
There are a handful of day oneers still here. And the end of TV careers for many, like Mike McRoberts. 23 years on the job ends tonight. And Sam Hayes, who did shifts as an intern at just 17.
My motto today, no tears until 7 o'clock, okay? It's not helping that you're crying too. It's really not helping.
The News Hub team have told hundreds of thousands of stories, often in a war of words with politicians. But today, the words were kind.
But I actually think that News Hub has done a better job at night on 6 o'clock news than TV1, this heavily subscribed taxpayer-funded outlet. And I'm sorry to see them go.
And I just want to say thanks to all the news hubbers for all the work that they've done and for the contribution they've made to New Zealand over many, many years, and I wish them all the very best.
Just want to wish everyone all the best. One of the saddest days in the history of New Zealand broadcasting.
A broadcaster that, in a matter of hours, will be yesterday's news.
Well, kia ora, Juliet. We're still today's news. How's News Hub marking the end of this news operation?
Well, Mike, they often say news is hard to plan and prepare for, and we certainly didn't plan to be here delivering this news about ourselves. But we have had more than 4 months to prepare for this day, as that is when we got the news of these redundancies and this operation closing down. So there have already been a number of occasions to mark the end of this place, the decades of it and the people that have contributed to it. But tonight, Mike, as you know, the entire company is here at Flower Street watching this final bulletin go to air. And then we will go and have a wee knees up to celebrate what has been an incredible legacy here at New Zealand, here at News Hub, delivering New Zealand's stories, best and worst, and around the world. And Mike, we're all going to miss that a lot.
Beautiful, Juliet. Tēnā koe.
No mai haere mai, welcome to 3 News. Anxiety is rising fast across the top of the south with another significant rain event due this week. In the worst hit region of Tasman, the clean-up has barely begun, but already many are bracing for what could come next. One farmer has called it the worst event in more than 50 years, and communities and sectors like the hop industry are now facing a clean-up likely to cost millions and last years. Senior reporter Juliet Speedy has the latest.
As a daunting weather forecast looms, the Tasman region is dealing with a flood recovery unseen for generations.
It's pretty dramatic and much easier to see the damage on the ground. Like the aerial views don't really show just how dramatic some of the impacts are. And I've seen orchards that are just completely piled up with debris, trees ripped out, all the infrastructure completely destroyed.
The rain coming in so thick and fast that farmer Gary Omlo moved these cows within minutes of the entire herd drowning.
I've never ever seen anything like it ever. Not only since I've been farming in Tapwera, but in my life.
Land is eroded, businesses' fences destroyed, millions of dollars of damage to roading and bridges alone.
That farm's been in our family for 90 years and for 4 generations, and there's only been 2 or 3 events that have come anywhere near this. This is certainly the biggest in my memory.
A lot of people have, this is probably the most significant event that's happened to their property in their lifetimes. The last time some of these areas were hit this badly is kind of 50 years ago.
A lot of farms, of course, have got silt and water in their paddocks, fences down, but the roading network is the key one for us that we need to maintain to give people access to their homes and businesses and actually get people moving again.
Nelson's vital hop industry taking a major hit. The same industry Peter Lyons worked in before he was tragically killed by a falling tree during the clean-up.
This is the product for beer, a very important export crop, and those hop gardens have just been hammered. The reason they've been so adversely affected is that it is those silty plains adjacent to river where the hops do very well. That industry is going to have a long and hard recovery.
With more significant rain on the way this week, the entire region is on edge.
I know I'm very nervous, and I've got, some, other farming friends whose properties have already been so damaged already by this weather event. It's not what they need now.
There's a number of things, obviously land stability, landslides, landslips, depending on where the event hits and quite how much rain we end up getting. Obviously already compromised rivers, stop banks, and certainly on people's individual properties as well. Areas that might have already been damaged that now present a greater risk if there's more rain. So it's quite widespread, the risks that come with another rainfall event so soon after this one. There's certainly a lot of stress out there.
Calls are growing for proper rain radars in the region.
So that remains a plea for government for us to be able to get a rain radar, because it would enable us to better manage both the emergency response, but also where we can send our road and those sorts of emergency crews.
Now councils across the 3 regions are hard at work, both trying to get the roads open, but also to mitigate what might come next.
One of our overriding problems, Juliet, is we have just had so much rain this year. Nearly 800 millimetres, where we would normally have about 500 at this time of the year. That means the ground is really sodden and we're getting landslips, and they will continue to be a problem.
Precautionary evacuation plans are already in place.
We're taking some very precautionary action and already thinking about who we may not have to evacuate and prepare and giving them notice if the event comes as large as predicted. There will be evacuations in some areas.
Now the battered regions just want a break in the weather and time to dry out.
Well, OK, Juliet, the government today announcing more help for the region.
That's right, Sam. The government today officially classifying this flood as a medium-scale adverse event, which essentially unlocks more funding. So through this, they've announced a further $100,000 towards the clean-up and recovery. And this classification will also unlock further support and tax relief for farmers and growers. Now, this comes on top of the $100,000 the government has already given to the Mayoral Relief Fund. So this will all obviously be a big relief to the regions, but whether it is enough is yet to be seen, as they are very much at the beginning of this enormous clean-up, particularly if these battered regions get yet another large rainfall later this week. The country's incoming Deputy Prime Minister admits he might be tempting fate.
I've done it about half a dozen times, and 2 of those times there was some sort of emergency, so I just hope I'm not jinxing the country.
David Seymour and Winston Peters agreed to split the Deputy PM job midway through the term, and now it's the ACT leader's time in the sun. The Prime Minister says the number 2 job is largely ceremonial.
Well, I mean, the job of acting Prime Minister, basically Deputy Prime Minister is to be acting Prime Minister when I'm out of the country or incapacitated.
Hang on a minute, boss.
All positions are ceremonial, including Prime Minister itself.
Seymour never takes a backward step, but he may be about to. He's been challenged to a charity fight by Hikoi leader Eru Kapakingi, who says he insulted his mum, a Te Pāti Māori MP, in the House.
David Seymour crossed the line when he attacked my mum in Parliament. This just got personal.
Minister to my left, David Seymour, call a member of Te Pāti Māori an idiot. I ask that you ask him to apologise and withdraw.
Was that comment made?
Oh, was it made? Not towards Te Pāti Māori, just to anyone in the area.
This is just part and parcel of this normalised behaviour of stepping on wahine, attacking wahine and making them feel less than, something that happens daily in Parliament.
While Seymour isn't keen on the charity fight, he is pulling no punches.
Most people in this country, including most Māori people, don't want a violent society. If that's what Te Pāti Māori stand for, maybe it's time that they get the old walk-on-by treatment.
Meanwhile, a former Prime Minister says the real punches are being taken by Christopher Luxon.
To see it tolerated now, that, that leaders of minor parties in government can take pot shots at the PM, I find it quite incredible.
So what score out of 10 would she give the coalition so far?
2.
But Christopher Luxon has every faith in his past and future deputies.
Oh, look, I think it'll be a pretty seamless transition.
And Seymour says he won't be doing things Winston's way. He has his own style, literally.
No, I haven't talked to Winston directly. I gather I need to comb my hair more, but I'm not going to blow wave.
But now he's getting a bigger slice of power, and the Prime Minister will be hoping for minimal mess.
A New Zealander who spent 3 days escaping Iran has told 3 News of her stressful and frightening ordeal. The Aucklander, who wants to be known as Mariam, is now in a hotel in Istanbul, but still can't get a flight back to New Zealand for herself or for her fiancé. She told senior reporter Juliet Speedy that the full impact of the past 2 weeks hasn't yet sunk in.
As the first Israeli bombs exploded in Tehran nearly 2 weeks ago, Mariam and her family began trying to get out.
As the days went on, it got harder and harder, and it came to the point where we actually gave up for a few days trying to find a way out. But my partner was quite, he was really keen on just getting out.
The Kiwi Iranian, who hasn't slept properly in weeks, ended up on a 3-day mission to escape the conflict zone.
Just before we got to the border, we passed the city called Tabriz. And as soon as we passed it, it got hit. So it was just constant fear of where is it going to happen next.
A family member drove her fiancé and her mum 15 hours to the Turkish border. The final leg, a gruelling 26-hour bus ride to Istanbul, where they remain.
The most difficult part was just thinking about family back home, just thinking about my country.
She says people still in Iran live with constant worry.
People are just in fear all the time. Like, we were even joking to the point where we were saying, have this meal, might be your last.
There are now 135 New Zealanders registered as being in Iran and a further 115 in Israel. Defence Minister Judith Collins says the Hercules and NZDF personnel are still en route to the region. But Mariam says that's not the help that's needed.
Hercules is not going to do anything. Once the airspace opens, obviously people are going to fly out with the first ticket they can get. Hercules is not helpful. But what they can do is hire a taxi, find ways for them to get out through the borders.
Collins insists it's the best plan.
I think once they're there, we can move very quickly. That's the point of being based there. But of course, the point is that everyone has been told for quite a long time to get the hell out of there.
While some are trying to get home, Auckland Airport this morning filled with others still flying to or through the Middle East.
Mesa is flying into the US military base, right? So, yeah, kind of don't really know what's going on, so whether we get a flight to Doha today or not.
You're always a bit cautious, eh? I was perhaps a little bit more worried than my wife and son, but we have confidence that things will be done sensibly, so obviously if we were too worried, we wouldn't be getting on the plane.
All Mariam wants to do is get on a flight home, but they're yet to secure a booking. She says the full impact of what they've been through is yet to hit her.
I am exhausted, but mentally, I think it still hasn't set in what has happened because I was just in flight mode.
Now safely across the border, but still stuck in limbo.
The principal of Shirley Boys High School says he's never heard a good word about open plan setups in secondary schools, and he believes they've been dragging down student achievement. Senior reporter Juliet Speedy has the story.
Shirley Boys High School's buildings are only 6 years old, designed for an open plan modern learning experience. But the principal says it simply hasn't worked.
The flexibility I don't think is particularly helpful for teenage boys.
The teachers didn't like it.
Our results weren't as strong as we would like for our NCEA results.
And the students didn't like it.
Basically what they were finding is it was really hard to concentrate on their learning.
So this year the school has spent nearly $800,000 of its own money putting walls back in.
A massive difference. Even in the first couple of days, people were there's a real energy around the school.
Shirley Boys High School is just the latest in a number of schools making the switch back from open plan to single cell. But the Minister of Education insists that open plan still works well for some schools. She says it's up to the school if they want to make the switch back.
I visited Shirley and I've talked to the teachers there. I know that many schools are wanting to switch back to single cell, and I understand why they want to do that. There are some schools who do use open plan and they use it very well.
But Tim Grocott says he hasn't heard a good word about it from any other principal in the country.
In the secondary school environment, I haven't heard any positive feedback about it.
The Ministry of Education told 3 News it doesn't track how many schools are reverting to traditional classrooms and says funding those changes isn't a priority. But the Minister concedes modern learning environments might sometimes miss the mark.
It seems to be a fad that comes and goes, but I think the evidence really is tending more and more these days towards making sure that there are spaces that are quiet, that are potentially modular for children to learn, especially children who have additional learning needs, like auditory processing, who are on the autism scale spectrum as well. It's important for them to have quiet, calm learning spaces.
Shirley Boys High expects extra walls will see extra achievement.
I think that will certainly lead to a much greater level of engagement, and we all know that once students are much better engaged in class, then their achievement follows, and so I believe we will see an increase in achievement.
Turns out open plan learning might not make the grade.
Our hospitals are desperately short of doctors and are relying on a network of overstretched locums to fill the gaps. Data obtained by 3 News lays bare staffing problems in every region. And doctors warn nothing will change until pay packets and working conditions finally catch up to other countries. Senior reporter Juliet Speedy has the story.
Managing with a shocking shortage of doctors is the new normal for our hospitals.
Our hospitals are in dire need of doctors. We are now seeing hospitals close and doctorless hospitals in New Zealand.
Wairarapa Emergency Department held together by locums.
So about 70% of our shifts every week at the senior specialist level are filled by locums.
It's a nationwide issue.
We're about 2,000 specialists minimum short, and a third of our graduates end up working overseas.
Shortages once unthinkable have become normal.
It's now the norm. Just like once upon a time, you didn't have such long wait times and you didn't have ambulance ramping. But these things slowly creep into the system and eventually you think it's normal.
These figures show just how many gaps there are. Gisborne Hospital has the highest doctor vacancy rate at 44%, while Southland Hospital has a shortage of 18%. In the table provided by Patient Voice Aotearoa, the term open to availability means an extreme need of one or more locums. And that's how Dargaville, the Bay of Islands, Ashburton and Gore hospitals are described, along with the emergency departments in Gisborne, Whanganui and Southland. The advertised need for locums in rural hospitals show Kaitaia will need 65 shifts covered over 6 months, and that Thames, Nelson, Oamaru and Balclutha also have shortages. In many rural centres, the highest need is in the emergency department. Whakatane needs 71 shifts covered in 3 months, while Masterton, Greymouth, Blenheim and Timaru are also doing it tough.
The answer is to pay our doctors more. We can't compete again on the international market, and because of that, we're not attracting doctors to New Zealand.
Australia's about double their remuneration. And it's not just remuneration, but it's also the work conditions. So if you're short-staffed, you're always going to be under the pump and work becomes less rewarding. And as a system implodes, it collapses like a deck of cards. So here in the last 10 years, I've seen loss of radiology, psychiatry, and last of all, and most important, was orthopaedics here recently.
Just 2 days ago, the government announced funding to expand after hours and urgent care across the country, with plans to recruit and train more staff.
We're investing a lot of money, a lot of resource into training more doctors so we can have access to those critically important services, whether it's in rural communities or urban communities, so they have those services.
I struggle to see how it's going to happen. You can't just magic up doctors to staff after hours surgeries.
It's not addressing the core issue, and the core issue is staffing. And the only way to have staff is have good work conditions, especially when there are better work conditions just over the ditch.
He says doctors are not only working long hours, but understaffing means those hours have also become far more intense.